everyone, it's Karen here, and I have a new video for you today. These are 10 hacks for mixed media and art, and for crafters as well. Enjoy! This hack is pretty easy. It's just using baby wipes. Most people don't think about it, but baby wipes are the most essential thing for an artist and a crafter and a mixed media artist. Everything that you're gonna get messy, you can use this to clean your surface. You can use this to clean your hands. And the most amazing thing is that once you clean certain things that have ink on them, you can actually use them for your projects. So you could actually have these stained, really nice stained baby wipes that dry up, and you could use them in your projects. And I've done that before, and I'll link some here below, and you'll see how I use different wiped wipes for different projects, and it's amazing to do. Here are a bunch more, and you see I keep them in all different colors, so you can I could use them for my different projects, and it's just really good. The same thing with paper towels. You could use your paper towel the same way and just wipe certain areas, and then use this on your project as well. I have projects where I've used stained paper towels, and I'll link those below as well. So there's just really fun things that you can do with just recycled materials. Another hack is basically saving recycled materials. Things like trays, foam trays, or boxes, or old paintbrushes that have gotten too hard and you can't use. You could use these in your art. So there's a lot of things you can do with them. Old lids. So you could use lids from different things to create stamp marks and things like that. Different containers that you can, okay, this is a lid. You can use this. You can use like old containers from this is a container that I just used to put mediums and mixed mediums around because there's nothing in it. So you could just use a lot of things that are around you that are really good. Things like toilet paper rolls or foam trays, tissue paper from nice gift wrapping idea, from gift wraps, and nuts and bolts and feathers and fabric and bottles and God knows how many things, boxes, rags, little doilies that you find in places, lids to things, and just basically anything can be used for texture, can be used to actually alter, can be used for different things. You can use things like deli paper, right, like wax paper, and you could use to stamp things on it. So there's just so many ideas to keep all your recycled things in one place. Baby wipes, which I just talked about before, it's another idea. So lots and lots of different things that you can save, like old rusted metals and shells and things like that, to just incorporate into your art. Another hack is toothbrushes, old toothbrushes that you don't need anymore. Wash them well, or you don't wash them, or do whatever you want. And these are amazing to create really nice splatters on your work. So for example, I have an old piece of like stuff that I did, and this is just watercolor. And all you have to do is just rub this, and it creates this really cute, beautiful splatters. And if you want bigger splatters, you put more ink. And you go, okay, so that's really a good tool. It's such a simple tool, but it's just so easy to just collect because we go through toothbrushes a lot. Instead of buying a splatter tool, you can just use your brush. So how amazing is that? Another great hack that, I mean, it's just so simple. I'm sure I'm not the one who thought of this, but having a bin, a large bin, or even a small bin that can fit all your stencils, you fill this up with water, and then whenever you're working, you don't have to constantly get up. Who loves getting up and doing that, right? So we have one for our paintbrushes that is usually sits on my table. But you know, just remembering to fill up this bucket and throw in the stencil, and then after you can go and clean it out and just work with them after, so you don't have to stop what you're doing. Just a simple hack, and doing this is just really, it's just a simple bucket that I bought at the dollar store, and it's just such a simple thing to use. And I don't know if a lot of people think about it, but that's something that I've thought about, and I thought it was a great idea. If you don't have one like this, which is, I mean, a great investment, but if you don't want to invest in this, even though they're really cheap, a great hack is just using paper. And you save a lot of packaging slips and basically recycled papers of things that I don't need. And I save these to catch. To catch, you can make a tray out of them and literally make a whole tray by folding all four corners and creating a tray. Or you could use and just fold it for embossing ink, or for how do you call this, for beads. So you could make your own catching tray, and actually what you should fold is your folders, fold them in, not out. and it creates this really nice tray, and you can actually use some tape and tape it around, and you should always keep one corner open, so that's where it would go. So that's a really great idea to do. I mean, it's a simple hack. Again, hacks are just simple. There's nothing huge about them, but this works because you can actually dump your powder in here, or your beads. Like if you have like glitter, right? So this is glitter, and you have something that you want to catch it and put it back in the container. This is a great way of doing it, right? So here it is. Oh, I'm trying to open this. Not opening. Other way. Okay, so for example, you know, you have, this is a container, and you just dumped a bunch of glitter, and then you want to put it back, right? So hopefully this works, and it's a really easy hack. I mean, most people know about this, but or just folding this in half, and I find that is easier. So for example, I find it so much easier to just go like this and fold it. And yes, I do spill most of the time. I spill a little bit, and that's okay. But it just goes back in, and it's perfect. And you see a little bit still left. I mean, yeah, do I waste a little bit of glitter? Yes, but you could. I mean, the catch and tray also, the same thing happens to it. You get a little bit of glitter left over. But if you don't want to spend on this, then this is a great way to just use your recycled paper, because I don't want to waste paper that I haven't used yet. But if it's recycled paper, then it's great. Another great hack is Saran wrap, and that can be used to really protect your jars from getting stuck and not being able to open them. For example, this jar, gel is the number one. Gesso and gel are always the ones that get stuck the most. So a great idea is to basically use the Saran wrap to seal in between things. So that way, I mean, this is a big piece, so you don't want it so big, but what it does, it's like it makes a seal. So then, first of all, there's no air, it's airtight, and also the gel doesn't go into the lid and makes it all stuck, and then you cannot open it, and it's a pain in the neck. So if you can protect this, you can protect your jars by doing this. You can, anything, any paints, any tubes, it would work in basically any type of medium. So you see how easy it is, and then it's so easy to open. Although I already spoke about recycled materials and how you can use them for your crafts and to use things. So this is like jars, and not jars, I mean little containers that you could use. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to buy a container in an art store. They're really expensive, and to mix things sometimes, I like working directly in my containers, just especially with the gel, but sometimes I'm mixing things in there. As you can see, this is all, it has like sequin and like little art stones, and I don't want to taint my whole box, my whole jar. So what I do is I keep one of the empty ones like this, and then I end up putting a little bit of gel, and I add as I need, and then I can mix things in it, and it doesn't really matter if it's all mixed up. I also, you know, like this is an empty container of microbeads. This one is from salad dressing. I don't know if you ever get these. Save these, like they're perfect. They have a lid. You could mix gesso with some mica powder or anything, any type of paint, and mix two colors together, and then it will stay sealed and wet, and it will not dry out. It's the same thing as I said before with with this styrofoam plate. You could use this as a palette, and that is, you know, something that is recyclable, and you don't have to, you already bought something, vegetables or whatever you bought with it, that you can wash it and then reuse it as a palette, which is really, really great. So I mean, you saving all your containers, it's really good. Even glass containers, you could save glass containers, and that could be used for paintbrushes, to wash your paintbrushes. So there's just so many ideas, so many hacks that are really easy for you to do, so you could make your life easier when you're working with products, with artist products. Cardboard is an amazing hack that just people don't realize how amazing this thing is and how many uses you can have for it. Besides using it as an actual substrate and using it almost like instead of a canvas, you could actually do a whole mixed media thing on top of this, right? By cutting a piece of it. The other option is you could peel it off, peel the one side off, and actually get that really cool texture that you see here. And it's so easy to just basically peel. And could be either side. Oh, this side I think it's easier too. Okay, so it's really easy to just peel things off and have that really nice texture that you see, that rib texture. But one of the really cool hacks that I like using, and this is something I learned from a friend, it's not specifically mine, is cutting this into strips, into pieces, because this can substitute to a lot of things. So for example, if you're making layouts or cards or things like that, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on tape, foam tape, you could use this as a substitute and create these really nice 3D effects. So for example, you could layer this up and then put a photo on top, which I've done this a lot. You put a photo on top on your layout, and this you will create a 3D effect with it. So it's really easy to just do that. Or in a card, for example, you can use this instead of the expensive foam tape. So look at the thickness. If you think of the thickness of the foam tape and you see the thickness of this, they're very similar. You can double it up as well, and you get a thicker one. And if you don't like it in brown, you could always paint this all white, and then you wouldn't see it behind cards, and it's perfect because nobody will notice it. So that's a really good idea. So 3 uses for one cheap, inexpensive, free product that you can just basically get with anywhere. You can use for 3 different ways. You can use it for texture, you can use it as a canvas or a substrate, and you could use it instead of foam tape. So I think this is a great hack that anybody would want to know about. So if you're going to do something like watercolor, or even like just this is a watercolor paper, or even just mixed media on it, and you want to just, let's say, either hold the paper, so with some masking tape, okay, or just create a pattern on it. Hold on, let me just rip this. Oops. So this holds, maybe rip it this way instead. So let's say you want to use masking tape, but you don't want it to get stuck to your paper and rip it. So a great hack for that, and I'll show you how to do it. And let's say you want to use the masking tape to create lines on your background, and you don't want it to rip your paper afterwards. There's a great hack for that. And so first we're going to add some color so I can show you how the hack works. So just, we're adding blue, and we could just paint this up. I don't want to so the way this hack works is that you need to add some heat to the masking tape in order for it not to rip the background. And since I'm already heating the actual background, okay, so I'm gonna add some heat to the actual tape so it removes the gluey part of the tape. And then I carefully, remove, hold on, let me turn this off. I carefully remove, and it comes out perfectly, and it doesn't rip my paper. Again, I'll show it again. It actually removes the glue from the masking tape. It melts it. And it gives you a perfect finish. So I have to remove this one first. So again, and it comes out really smoothly. I mean, of course, still be careful. You don't have to rip it, but it really helps because it makes it smooth and doesn't rip, especially something like the watercolor paper, which is really porous and very thick, right? So it has a lot of layers, and you want to make sure that it doesn't rip that. So look at this, it made it perfect, and this is a great hack if you're going to use it. There we go. Okay, so what do you think? Yeah, this is another great hack that I thought I would show you. And there you go. And then you have a very pretty nice patterned watercolor paper. This piece of acetate that comes from a stamp or from any packaging is just the greatest hack. Amazing like ideas that you can have with this piece of acetate, and you can use it for so many different things. One of the things I like using this for is for mixing things on top, so you don't have to dirty your mat. So for example, you could take, let's say, some gel and just put a little bit of gel in here, and then mix in some, I don't know, beads in it or stones in it, and then you have, I don't want to waste a lot of it just to show, but like you can mix things, you know, and then it will stay on this and will not, and it's sometimes gel is really hard to take off your mat, so this is a place you could do with beads. You could do it with many different I don't know, micro beads, glitter, and different things like that. Another use you can have for this, and this, I mean, now, yes, I'm wasting now, which I don't like wasting, but just to show you what you can do with it, okay? And I'm going to clean it. Look how easy it is to clean, and you could use it again and again, or just throw it out because it's just packaging. Another option that you can do with this is you could use it for either alcohol inks or watercolors, and you could stamp with it or create these really cool patterns for it. Thank you for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed my 10 hacks for mixed media artists or crafters alike. I really had fun thinking of these, and I'm sure I'm going to have a second list of hacks that might be helpful for people because they're really fun to use or think about, and I want to share with them. If you share them with people, if you can think of a hack that you really want to share with other people, feel free to leave it in the comment area. I might actually incorporate it into a second video if I think it's an amazing hack that could really help somebody else. So feel free to share any hacks that you think are really helpful for others. Thanks so much. Bye.